What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors and entrepreneurs and the cryptocurrency world, because we feel like crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So we're pumped to have you guys along for the ride. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here in the beautiful country of Puerto Rico, just having a fun time hanging out with all you guys who are on the same journey as us, where we're going to use cryptocurrency as that wealth creation tool and then use real estate as that wealth preservation tool. And if some of you guys don't know how to use real estate as a wealth preservation tool, maybe we can shine some light on this journey as we're all moving together down the road. But it's going to be an absolute blast where we're going to take the trajectory, but not only of ours and our families' lives, but your lives, and create legacy wealth. And that is the main thing that we're after. Actually, the main thing we're after is time freedom. That's part of what I'm after. I want to be able to do what I want, with whom I want, how I want, whenever I want. I love that idea because I just want to create memories with my family and have a good time with my friends. So it's an absolutely blessing to be here with all you guys, even in the middle of a bloody bear market, which has just been a blast. I've been DCAing here and there. I'll probably do a little bit more this month. And, I love stacking node validators. That's kind of my mission right now, is how many node validators can I get before the end of the year?
In fact, Corey, I've been noticing a lot in my Twitter feed, and I don't know if the algorithms changed or what's going on, but all of a sudden I tend to I'm getting a lot more big Bitcoin accounts that are turning more bullish. They're feeling like the bottom's in or near this month potentially, and we've got upside ahead. There's the Bitcoin ETFs that sound like they're going to get approved at some point. In fact, I saw a tweet that sounds like the Grayscale guys, attorneys have reached out to the SEC to try to set up a meeting to figure out what they can do to get approval ASAP after a judge, I think it was earlier this month or last, ruled in their favor, saying that they were treated unfairly in regards to how the SEC managed their application. So that's exciting. Are you seeing the same thing on your timeline?
I am, man. And I'm seeing all kinds of, new bullish innovation news, if you will. Like MetaMask just launched their direct on and off ramp via inside their wallet, meaning what that means is that you avoid the centralized exchange altogether. You're able to send fiat. You would sell your assets, whatever you try to sell, convert it to fiat, and send it to your bank account, and vice versa. I would like to see this really catch fire and other wallets implement this. Now, I'm sure they have some kind of KYC embedded into the MetaMask. And I've got news for you, crypto guys who are, into the DeFi space. We're not going to get rid of KYC. It's here to stay. Have one wallet. I like to recommend having one wallet that's a KYC wallet, and then you have multiple other wallets that are non-KYC, maybe for your long storage or whatever, maybe your long-term stakes. But you're going to have always a KYC wallet, especially as more regulation comes into space. But that's pretty innovative. Like, let's avoid the third party of MetaMask. Yeah, Red Squirrel, but there's already speculation that the 9% fee will be coming down in time. So it's just a good move in the right direction. And then another bullish news now, even though some people are not going to like this, but it's Visa partnering up with Solana. And, that is just, moving in the right direction overall in the space. And I saw like Hivad, whatever her name is.
I think it's Hivad.
Yeah, she was like, why didn't you pick Pulse Chain? And because, we're a new emerging blockchain. We have 100% uptime as far as Pulse is concerned. Solana doesn't. Well, the reason why is because there's no one they can call and negotiate a deal out with. With Solana has an actual office in the business and with people working in it. Like, you could call Solana and talk to an HR department. It's like Porsche don't have that. So like, who's Visa gonna call up and be like, hey, let's work out a deal? They're not gonna call Richard. Richard's gonna
Right.
hang up on him and tell him to F off. So that's why we're not gonna be picked for that type of adoption, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And when Solana does have its next, whatever hack or the network goes down, Visa will see it. Maybe they experience a little pain from it. I hope it doesn't. I never wish that on nobody. I want to see innovation in the space, because any innovation in the space, money coming in, is meaning that more money for our ecosystem. So overall, macro for crypto macro, not economy macro, but crypto macro is looking very bullish. So we'll see how this all plays out.
One of the interesting things I've been noticing with specifically with the PulseX price chart, when it drops an additional zero, I think it's 5 zeros and a 9. When it gets to that level, we're seeing bounces each time. People are buying up those levels. That seems to be support on the PulseX chart right now, which is good. And on Pulse, it looks like it's 4 zeros and a 3.3, I think, is the bottom. It's been hanging out 3.3 to 3.7. I mean, it feels like we're finding a bottom, unless DOJ stuff comes out with Richard, which I don't think is terribly likely. I mean, I think we've largely found our bottom, or we're close to it. And ideally, Q4 of this next year, we could see some more green candles.
Yeah, I think October is going to be, instead of a DeFi summer, we're going to have a DeFi fall. And I think sentiment, not just overall in crypto, but in our system too, man, is going to really start picking up in October. So that's my kind of call on it, obviously, because, you also have like the other stuff that, that's out there that people were worried about, like Waters Above calling out a black swan event on September 16th. Jubilee year ends on September 17th. And so like people are still afraid Bitcoin making a 20 to 30% move down. I think once September is done, we're kind of like in there'll be brighter skies. By then we'll have the Fetch Oracle, and we'll have all these new protocols launching. And with all these new protocols, these are new toys for people to come in and play with. And that's just going to be a lot of fun for the ecosystem as a whole, moving in to the next year. And some people are speculating, and we were talking about this, backstage a little bit, Dane, is that the big dump that we had last month in, crypto as a whole, Bitcoin and Ethereum, that was like people trying to front run the September dump, meaning that the September dump might not even happen, just because everyone was dumping last month. So I don't know. It's all narratives, and nobody ever knows at the end of the day. But it's fun to think about, and because not knowing just means that you continue DCAing and continue believing and continue holding and continue with the same plan as always. Our conviction has not been more assured ever. I feel like we are in the right place at the right time, and it's going to be life-changing over this next market cycle. Whether we have a left translated cycle or not, who knows? But I think we could see some really good green candles going into next year. And it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited.
It should be a lot of fun. Oh yeah, good comment, Bobby. On Dex Screener, PulseX has the most liquidity, followed by Hex. Interesting.
That's because everyone keeps dumping it. Although that's where all the liquidity came from, pumping it in the pools.
This is one we've largely stayed out of, but do you want to give an opinion here, Corey?
Does the RH ecosystem need a stablecoin? If so, can PDAI serve as a potential solution? Thanks for all you do. I mean, who knows, man? Here's the issue that I have with PDAI. What's going to keep it pegged at the dollar? I understand people are saying Atropa is controlling some bots that will buy it up and then sell it down when it's needed. But like, you still need some kind of like not real world asset, but like something you can trade them for. Like, for example, on Ethereum, I could take DAI and go and redeem it for $1 worth of ETH at any given time. There's a backing from that ETH. Now, if we had that in Pulse, I can start to believe that, and we're going to have that with the liquid loans protocol. They're what is that called? The USDL, and then also with the Power City Earn protocol on Pulse X, you can get $1 of Pulse X when you redeem, and like Circle with a USDC stable coin, you can send that into Circle and you get $1. And so like this, there just has to be something. To me right now, it's just a narrative and a meme coin, which is a fun one. And who knows, maybe it does go to $1. That would be absolutely insane. But I promise you, with all the people who are in playing the meme game with it, there is going to be so much dumping, going on. And it's just, yeah, play at your own risk. I mean, there's nothing, I encourage it because it's bringing activity into the chain. People are having fun. Some people are making money. And I encourage this type of activity. We need this. And in fact, I saw that some other community members, like there's people from XRP who came into play with the P-DAI narrative on Pulse, which is what we need, because and then they're buying Pulse, and then they're getting acclimated to this ecosystem. Maybe they'll see some other protocols launching and they'll stay. Who knows? But yeah, I just don't fully fall into the narrative that P-DAI was Richard's intent, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things.
And even if, I think that if I were to buy any, I would buy it with the full anticipation this is a full blown meme coin, and
Right.
and act accordingly. That's how I would treat it. I've stayed out. It's already ran a decent amount from when the excitement started, and I found that time and time again, if I buy after that, if I don't have first mover advantage, I'm the exit liquidity, and not real interested in being it for B roots here. So
we love B roots, but
we do.
He's good at this game.
Yep. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to have the activity. Like it's arguably the most like interesting thing going on right now on Pulse chain as far as volume is concerned, right? As far as like the volume where people are interested at, it's showing that it's the P-DAI Atropa stuff. In fact, I was looking, I think Atropa had a really nice run in the last, I think it was like 75% this morning in the last 24 hours. So, I mean, they've got some interesting things going on there. What happened?
The renouncing of the contract is what caused that.
Yeah. I saw that. That was interesting. So they got some cool things going on. Like you buy the things that you really believe in, and if that's something you really believe in, then
and if for some reason this is one of Richard's, master plan, like, and it were to play out, and then we found out that Richard did create this and it was all intended, like, that would be so effing bullish for the whole ecosystem as a whole. Like, everything's going to moonshot up after that. Like, it would just be insane if that's what actually ends up playing out. I'm just not banking on it like you said, Dane. I think the way to play it, if you want to play it, fine, but play it like a meme coin. Play the meme coin game with it, and then maybe you save a small little bag, a moon bag for that if it does go to $1.
Right, $100 could go a long way if it really does go to $1.
Oh, you'll be, man. Oh.
Be wild. Yeah. But that's a great point. Yeah, so there's multiple stable coins being worked on right now. Yeah. Coast has theirs out. They're working on getting more liquidity. In fact, I think that they got I think they're getting close to $500,000 over on PHUX in liquidity, which is great. So liquidity is growing for them. You have the stable coins for Power City and liquid loans that sound like those should be coming out sometime, I would think, this year. I don't know. It seems like everybody's on the whole 2 more weeks track right now. So yeah, I'm not particularly concerned about having stable coins on Pulse chain they're going to come. It's just a matter of timing. We've already got Coast, which is growing in liquidity. So
Yeah,
I like
I'm going to
it.
give them a test drive this month just for like a couple grand or something. Just try it out. And there's enough liquidity where I feel like now like a couple grand shouldn't give me any significant slippage. I
Right.
would think, but if you're still looking at big numbers, like what if somebody wanted to wire in 50 grand? Well, that's going to really hurt this, you're really going to have a lot of slippage against yourself trying to, you'd have to like
Yeah.
literally maybe every day you put in a couple grand. So it would be so painful trying to tether yourself in. But yeah, I love it. I love that Buck is really promoting it on Twitter and getting the word out, trying to get people.
Promoting Coast.
Yeah, for Coast.
Yeah.
Buck is really just like, hey guys, like let's get behind this, provide liquidity. It's over here on Fox. And so I love that. I love when all the different third-party protocols are working together, trying to achieve the mission that we're all on, right? Which is complete adoption from Pulse Chain. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, kind of cool. This is an interesting topic. Yeah, Corey and I were talking about this a little bit more this morning. And we're seeing more and more, not only in the lending space, like, man, I can't imagine if you're a real estate lender, mortgage provider, financing professional, you've had a very difficult year this year with rates going up. Those guys slaughtered it a year or two ago.
Oh, yeah. I knew some friends in the lending that slaughtered. Man.
Oh man, they crushed it. I had one of the guys I know. He doesn't even I don't even think he has a team. I think he's just a one-man show, and he did like $1 million with almost no expenses. He made like $1 million and doing just standard mortgages. It was wild. But now there's practically no business to go around. In fact, we're talking with one of our real estate investors yesterday, and this seems to be sentiment in general. I mean, he's saying that they were doing 5 deals a month earlier this year, and then all of summer they've done 2 deals all of summer, and it's been like pulling teeth to do deals. And I think that's a reflection of what the market in general is thinking. I think we felt it here in crypto for a while, right? It's been 2 years of bear market. Everybody's been feeling it in crypto, starting to see the inklings of it in real estate, in my opinion. And I think, so here's what I think is going to happen. And once again, we could be wrong. We're wrong plenty. And so take all this with a grain of salt. I think that the Fed continues to raise rates this year until, their job is to keep inflation low and monitor how employed the American population is. And so when you raise rates, typically you see jobs being lost. And we're in a really strange economy right now where since COVID, a bunch of people were paid to sit at home. And I don't know where the workforce has gone because we're seeing them increase rates, but the job report, at least this last go around, it showed some losses of jobs, but previously it's been relatively strong. And so honestly, I don't know what most people are doing. Only so many people can be supported from OnlyFans and YouTube. And so I think that they raise it a few more times this year to see some more cracks in the system. I don't think there's been enough pain. They need to see more jobs being lost in order to feel like they need to back off of the raising of rates. And then next year, I mean, Biden and company, you want the money printers to come back on to try to restart the economy to make it look good for re-election. To the degree that happens, I don't know. Maybe they don't even start printing until the middle of next year or late next year. Like that's a scenario that could be, and we could, we could see crypto lagging a little bit. A lot of people are expecting, I've seen some insane price calls into the Bitcoin halving. I hope it happens. Like that'd be great. We can get to the bull run quicker. But I think it's more likely that the Fed's more conservative. I think they raise a few more times this year. I think that they largely hold next, maybe the first quarter, first half of the year. and then you start to see some loosening. And historically, that's when the market crashes, when they start to
Yes.
loosen again.
And before that, Dane, historically, when the Fed is raising rates and holding, the markets pump.
Right.
It's wild. So like you kind of want them, I guess, to kind of at least hold the rates up there for a little while, because once they start lowering and they do what's called quantitative easing and they get dovish, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
That's shortly after when everything crashes, the pump's over. So yeah, we have a very interesting year upon us. It's going to be fun. There's going to be plenty of opportunity. A lot of wealth will be made next year in general from this. You just keep your thumb on the pulse.
Yeah. So with your question, where does the liquidity come from? I think it comes from the money printers coming back on at some point next year. I think that, frankly, I think it comes from more institutional investors. I think that we'll see Bitcoin run a little bit here with ETFs. When ETFs start getting approved, I think they're going to get approved. I think we're going to see one, and then it's going to be a flood. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. Going to see a bunch of ETFs getting approved. I think there's big money buying Bitcoin right now. I think that you see more approvals. You see more big institutional investors buying, and that's when retail starts to get more interested again, is when Bitcoin is moving. Ethereum's moving, and then that's when you start to see the bleed over into alts and other things of that nature. So that's my guess. That's what I think is pretty likely to happen. And I just don't think there's a scenario. I think it's very unlikely that we see a traditional 4-year cycle with the top in mid to late 2025. I think things are going to roll over quicker. So that's what I'm anticipating. And take that for what you will. Good questions, though. Really good questions. It's fascinating to see historically, but in general. So historically, it's pretty common to see things slow down in the summer months with with traditional markets, with crypto, with real estate, with a lot of different things. Unless you own a boating company in the summer, a lot of companies are much slower during the summer because people are out and about taking their time and doing whatever they're going to do. And then once people come back in the fall, they start locking in. That's when you start to see a lot more activity in general in a lot of places. And so do we see that? I'm really curious to see, do we see that in real estate? Do we see that? We're anticipating we see it in crypto, in a lot of different places, and see it in the next year. And so we're just going to ride that wave, and it should be a good one. We're excited. We're excited.
You see it in business too. A lot of businesses slow down during the summer months, and it's like once October comes into play, it's like everything starts picking back up. I think it's something to do with just a shift of the weather. Christmas is upon the horizon. People are more happier. They want to go out and spend money more. It's just it's a different feeling than being in the middle of the dead middle summer.
Right. Yeah, this is a good comment, Brett. October historically has been a make or break month in all sectors. Yep. So we are patiently waiting. And that's I think that's one of the things that's really fascinating about crypto compared to real estate. If you have a real estate business, you can go, even when the market's tough, if you can hustle hard, there's money to be made. With crypto, largely there's just at least right now, it's been a waiting game. If you've caught some of these memes or some of that stuff, you may have made some money, but a lot of that stuff has no liquidity. You could put in $100 or a few $100 before you're pushing the price really hard against yourself. And most people end up losing in those games. And so for the majority of us that are, we're just hanging out and waiting. And I think a lot of people are just freaking worn out. And so we're just waiting around.
Yeah, you see it on crypto Twitter. The sentiment, even the FUDsters are kind of worn out from FUDding. I don't see much activity overall, whether it's bullish, bearish. I don't see the spaces anymore. I do see spaces for the PDI, they'll have a space going, or the orange, the Tang game, they'll have a space going. But that's it. There's no other, things go like usually in Telegram, there used to be always 1 or 2 or 3 live chats going at any given time. And if if you're winding down at the end of your day, you could tap into one and get some nuggets. Now, every day, every night, I go and look. I'm like, man, there's just nothing going on. It is crickets out there, which is also kind of tells me again, maybe we are at a bottom in our ecosystem just because like everyone's just out of everything. I don't know. It's interesting. I've never seen the ecosystem quite like this before. Now I'm not a day one Hexakin, so I don't know what it looked like in the early days. After Hex launched and all the FUD was out, I'm sure the Hexakins would band together and kind of fight the FUD as a group. But I don't know, man. This is it's an odd, quiet time, which for me is medium to long-term bullish.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had just been a little bit more patient with my money is all.
Oh, me too, man. Me too. The number one lesson I've learned, man, is don't fight the Fed and don't fight the bear market. I should have been way more patient with liquidity. We were launching in the middle of a bear market, and I did not take that into enough consideration.
Yeah, I didn't give it enough weight. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, this is a great comment. The midpoint of a crypto bear market is marked primarily by boredom. Was the same last cycle. This is when us builders build, right?
This is where we're at, but it is boredom at its finest, man. I'm like, which is good, man, because like I'm getting out, I'm running a lot more. Me and you are working on business. It gives us time to be able to do other things, spend time with the family. It's just it's a great time if you want to learn. Some people use this time to really do a lot more research in the crypto space. Maybe if they're learning to trade. Now, we don't want to trade, but some people do use this time to really learn. The bear markets are for learning. They're for learning and growing your bags, and then bull markets are for selling and really getting out there and screaming with the megaphone. It's just that's just the strategy. But it's oddly boring right now, which is a good thing.
Yeah. It is interesting. And to clarify, we're not saying the market bottom, is necessarily in or it's right now or the market's heading back up next month. But man, it's feeling like we've got to be freaking close. I think we're way closer to upside than we are a lot more downside.
Yeah, rectimber bull trap. It could also be a rectimber bear trap. I really feel like that. Last month, go back and look at the charts, man, on Bitcoin and Ethereum. There is some massive red candles last month. They could have been front running the rectimber. We don't know. Nobody knows. And you could be absolutely 100% right. We might have another 50% down. Who knows? We might hit 11K this month. If Waters Above is correct with his, Black Swan event, maybe Bitcoin does go at 11K and pray. And then, who knows, man? It's just, we're just along for the ride.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. Yeah. Looking at the big picture of BlackRock, absolutely does feel like they're buying up everything. Wouldn't it be advantageous for them to lengthen the bull market, their yield horse, right? I mean, I think you could go either way, right? In the end of the day, in my opinion, I think BlackRock's play is to do everything they can to control everything that they can. And
to own the world.
Yep. And there's multiple paths to doing that. I don't think that yield is their play. I think their play is control, and they have all the money to control whatever they want to control, from what I could tell. And so, how do they want to go about doing things? I don't know. I tell you, the more that we look at macro trends and different markets and what they're doing, I'm feeling more and more strongly about, a shortened cycle this round where we see a top next year, and it be pretty devastating for everybody that's thinking the traditional top in late 2025. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. I think it's really important. Corey's nailed it, and Sami's talked about this too. Once we get to a place where, Bitcoin all-time highs, maybe it's 70, 80, 90, 100K, In my opinion, it's probably before 100. I think you've got to take a look at your portfolio and say, okay, what's the likelihood that things continue on an upward trajectory here? What's the macro looking like? Because I think there's practically a 0% chance that crypto is going to decouple and outperform when everything else turns and starts heading back down. And you got to make a decision and say, like, how much of your portfolio at that point, once Bitcoin's to 70, 80, maybe 90K, how strongly do you feel like we continue to have a lot more upside? And how strongly do you feel like it's time to potentially look at taking some chips off the table? And then you just figure out, you figure out that percentage. If you think there's a 30% chance it continues higher, then you leave 30% in the market and you take out 70%, and you learn to manage your risk appropriately. If you've been with us during this freaking bear market, we've learned a ton about managing our own personal risk, and I will manage mine far more effectively once we start getting to those levels that I have previously. So
I will comment on the yield horror thing with BlackRock. We know that's not what they're really after. And you're right, Dan. It's more just owning the assets and controlling. In real estate, we were selling deals to BlackRock, and they would buy deals that would not cash. They were buying deals that literally overpaying for properties, not caring about the cash flow. Like the hedge funds were out just gobbling up everything, and the numbers didn't have to make sense. It was wild what we saw in real estate the last couple of years. And so I really believe they don't care about how much they're cash flowing or what the P&L looks like at the end of the movie. They just want to own everything.
And to give you guys some perspective on that, I had a deal. So point in case, and Corey, I'm sure, had a bunch of these too. We had a deal that I blasted out to our local investor network, and I was going to make 30 grand on it. And we went to a hedge fund, and they gave us 100 grand. They paid 70,000 more dollars than everyone else local, even the more aggressive guys locally that were looking to grow their portfolios. So it was stupid.
Numbers didn't make sense.
It made no sense on paper.
But they're buying it, and so it's going to be the same. Now, with Bitcoin, they're going to want to make money on it, and they will. That's why the market could roll over. They could start selling when the S&P rolls over. I mean, who knows? It'll be interesting to see. At this point, anything can happen, and so we just want to make sure we're staying diligent and looking at all possibilities.
Agreed. Yeah, Fame is coming out soon. Man, I tell you, I find it fascinating to see the lack of walk me through this, Corey. So if you're a blockchain builder, and if I'm way off here, you say the word, because I could be. If you're a blockchain builder, are you not aware relatively soon after the sacrifices that you're probably going to need an oracle for your protocol? Are you not? I mean, this is 2 years ago or over 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, for some of these sacrifices. So are you telling me that either many of these guys had absolutely no foresight, totally missed the oracle thing, or does it really take 2 years to build an oracle? I mean, I'm just talking out loud here. I think this is an enormous learning experience for many of the builders on Pulse Chain. I think many of them did not know what they were up against, which is fair, right? When you're going out and doing something new,
it happens to us all the time, building businesses.
You just don't know what you don't know, right?
Right. It's part of life,
right? But gosh, it is a breath of fresh air to see the PH team actually launching things, doing it in reasonable time frames, and getting stuff done. So I'm about it. We're here for it. I'm excited for Fame to come. Ideally, it could create some some of these protocols could create some more volatility and get some more, get some more eyes and attention on Pulse Chain. So
exactly, just more toys for people to come over and play with. That's what we want. We want all the toys that, people love playing with in other ecosystems. We know Fame is one of those toys.
Right. Agreed. It'll be fun. Yeah, the fact that Liquid Loans is not out yet is criminal. They've built TWAP Oracle against Pulsex. The capability is there. I've also seen tweets from them which show lack of understanding of their own fork protocol. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment a lot on that. I think that's I get that take.
Yeah, it's understandable. I don't think they intentionally did it that way, though. That they didn't, like, some community members are like, out there calling them, scammers, rug pull. They over, all the money that they got from the sacrifice, that they're not going to be able to deliver that much, value. Once again, to your point, Dane, is that, a lot of these builders are newer builders. A lot of these builders didn't know what they were up against. A lot of these builders didn't anticipate, many different factors. I mean, look, gosh, there's so many things that happened since launch that, there was no way we could have anticipated. It's been an absolute just, shit show.
Right.
So
and we've said it here before. I don't think if there wasn't the SEC case with Richard, I still don't think Pulse Chain is out.
I don't think it would be out either.
I don't think it's even out now.
Yep. Nope.
So, there's something to be said about that. I think we're all just sitting here speculating and hoping and yeah. So here we are. Speaking of that SEC case, holy cow. I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Corey, but I was doing some more digging. I think that the bounty, if you bring actionable information to the SEC and they get they're able to get money from somebody in crypto right now, it isn't like a 10% bounty or 20 or 30%. 30. Can you imagine? Like, oh geez. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like when you do that, you're gonna get trash. People just bringing you anything and everything, stuff that's not security. It's the wrong way to incentivize the public, in my opinion. That is not how you incentivize the public.
I agree.
Just horrible.
Yeah, I think this is spot on. Yeah, the SEC drama has a lot of new Pulse Chain projects very unsure of their next move. And I think there's something to be said, man. And we are not developers by any stretch of the imagination, but gosh, if I were, I would be building protocols, I would be a faceless avatar building that way so that, who's the SEC going to come after, your faceless Twitter account.
Plus, I wouldn't be launching right now. If I was a builder, and I give credit to everyone who is, thank God they are, because it's bringing lights to the ecosystem. But if I was a builder and I was like, because you value your work, your protocol you build, this is your life work, I wouldn't be launching right now, dude.
Agreed. I'd be waiting.
Like, I'm happy everyone is. Great. But man, this is just be like launching next year, man. Freaking February. Like, all right, we're live.
Yeah, seriously. Paul realistically expects to collect a 30% bounty from the mob.
Right.
Yeah.
But it makes sense now.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Imagine all their hard work and capital invested for not if this takes a turn for worse. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. And I think hindsight is 2020, right? I mean, I'm sure that if you talk to a lot of these teams looking back, they probably would have played their cards different in how they hired their teams and how they incentivized them and how they built them and where they found them. Like, it's, there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that's tough to. This is freaking hard stuff to build. I'm sure I've built some tech stuff that paled in comparison to building on the blockchain, and I hated every minute of it. That was an awful experience trying to find devs and get them to understand my vision and then bring it to fruition. Oh my gosh, that was that was terrible. I hated every moment of that. I can't imagine trying to pull this off here. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Yeah, shout out to Buck. It's cool to be able to actually see them execute on things, to see a team that could do things in shorter time frames. You know, 100% 100% uptime and all their stuff has been, or I guess, well, I guess that's debatable. I retract that statement. There has been some things where front ends have been down, which is
Front end, yeah, but
to
that's not the code or
but they haven't had to roll back the code or anything like that.
Yeah. It's not the actual protocol. That's just like, you know, the sign on front of the store. Basically.
Right.
It's
exactly. Yeah. Inside joke. So cool. Yeah, glad you.
Hey, what's up, PBTP? Okay, yeah, Lula's out in Puerto Rico. Yeah, we had lunch there. It was great. Yeah. Come on back out, man. 2024, I'll still be here.
Right. So cool, guys. Seriously, a lot of good insights here today from you guys. I think we're all kind of thinking on the same wavelength. Everybody's kind of hanging out and waiting. I know that I've got some extra capital. In fact, Corey, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I had a few $1,000 hanging out in a wallet that I forgot about that's been there before Pulse Chain launched. So I was like, oh,
how do you just lose money laying around the house?
I don't know. I thought I bridged it all over. So I've got a little bit that I'm sitting on and waiting to see how September plays out.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm willing to be a lot more patient with this little bit of dry powder that I have left in that respect. And so yeah, it's good. It'll be, I think next year will be a lot of fun. I really do. And so, you know, not financial advice for my own bags. You know, I'm not getting fudded out. Neither is Corey. We're not really selling anything. We're just here being patient because once again, I think next year is going to be pretty wild. And if you calculate, even if your bags are way down, like we're down on positions, the same as some of you guys, right? Like we've been DCAing and I mean, so what I'm doing is I'm taking my value now and I'm saying, hey, I think we're, you know, downside, we could have more downside, but gosh, I don't think that there's a ton more downside from here. I'm like, what is my value now? And from these levels, I mean, gosh, I think a 20, 30, 50, 100, you know, 200x
so life-changing
is absolutely on the table.
Absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you got to really look at your portfolio is like, hey, you know, because you can't look at, like, I have friends all the time or on boards, even in our group, Dane, where it's like, oh, if I get a 50x, man, I'm good. I'm like, okay. Are you counting the 50x from the money you put in? Because you can't do that. Unfortunately, you have to count it from where we're at. Where is our levels? And actually, you're supposed to count it on the price chart at the lowest level it hit. And so Pulse, if you're looking at Pulse, you know, that lowest level was what, 4 zeros and I don't know, was it 3 or maybe it went under 3. I don't know where is that. You got to look at the price chart. You just call it 3 for simple math, and then you times that by 50. That's really what a 50x would be. It's not, because if you bought Pulse at a 2x higher of sacrifice. Or 3x, I think he had a 3x higher. Actually, he did a 3x. If you bought the top and put in 10 grand, you can't be going, oh, if I get a 50. No, it doesn't work that way, bro. You gotta find new ways to DCA in. You gotta find new ways to correct with the market. You know, move with the market. And then, yeah, I get it, guys. It sucks. DCAing right now. You might be out of dry powder. Me and Dana are out of the majority of our dry powder, but me and Dana are also doing things to bring more money in the door, and you should too. You should be out there doing whatever it takes to bring money in the door, whether it's picking up a new side hustle, whether it's, you know, going out and maybe you drive Uber on the weekends. I don't know. Deliver pizzas. I used to deliver pizzas, Dane, way back in the day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I would average around $25 an hour. And for me back then, that was a lot. I made more than a general manager when I was delivering pizzas.
You were making more money than a general manager?
Yeah, because of the tips. So, it's, you know, you could do that 3 or 4 hours a night, part-time, for somebody maybe who has a normal 9 to 5. You know, there's things you can do to try to bring more money in the door. You can start a little entrepreneurship journey, you know, and start generating money that way. And that's what me and Dane do. We've been entrepreneurs for quite a while now. And that's one way you could bring in money in the door. There's just so many things you could do while we're in the, and remember, it's boring right now. This is a bear market. Like there's nothing going on. So go out there and make money while it's boring. Bring the money in, DCA in, and then you'll be around for when it's exciting. And then you can go, oh, I just got a 50X. Yeah, maybe then. So it's just you have to change your thought process as the market adjusts. It's weird. You have to always be reanalyzing and rechecking. You know, unfortunately, I had a friend. I'll give a quick story. I had a friend. He sacrificed 20K when Pulse X was almost at its worst rate. His cost basis was 3 zeros and a 5. That 20K sacrifice is worth $400 today. Okay, 20K to 400. He can't go and say, okay, if I can just get a 50X on my 20K. You're having unrealistic expectation. He has to come back in with new dry powder. It's the only way to move forward, or he just kind of like, maybe I break even in the next bull run. Maybe. Like you have
from these levels, you got to get a 10X just to get even on your Pulse X sacrifice.
That's a 3 zeros and a 1. He needs more than that.
Oh, geez, you're right.
He's 3 zeros and a 5 because he came in late. And I told him, I kept, hey, bro, you got to get in, you got to get in, you got to get in. And then he shows up in my office. This is when I was in Arizona, like a month after I was telling him. And I'm like, bro, you're like late. Like you're going to get like the worst rate. He's like, I don't care. He's like, it's still I should be good, right? I'm like, bro, I have no clue. I'm going to be good, right? Dude, I have no idea. Like, he's like, I just want to get it in. Just show me how to do it. Okay. Here's how you get it in. And I mean, yeah, that 20K worth $400, dude. It's just, it's just, he can't go and like, oh, if I just got a 50X. No, bro, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, even from here, like in order to get a 50X from the best sacrifice rate, you need a 10X just to get there, plus a 50X on top. That's a 500 from these levels. Right. And you got to ask yourself, you know, like, do you think it's likely that you get a 500X from these lows? I mean, not that it couldn't happen, but that's where you got to make a determination and say, okay, at these levels, do you have enough money in where if you could get a 20 or 30 or 40, 50X from where we're at right now,
bingo,
is that gonna be impactful for you?
Bingo.
And I'm telling you guys, there's opportunities everywhere. And one of our Telegram groups, the one guy was saying that their brother went out. I think all they did was rent a power washer from like Home Depot or something like that. And I think they went out and made 15 grand their first week from going door to door, hustling, knocking on people's doors and seeing if they could power wash their house or their driveway or whatever people needed. And I think the cost, once again, was just some time and the cost to go rent a power washer. So there's opportunities. If you're willing to work, I mean, now is the time to freaking be working, to be able to go and place bets on things that you believe in our opinion. Once again, nothing here is financial advice. You got to make your own determinations and what you believe in and how you want to manage risk and things of that nature. But gosh, yeah, now is the time that, in my opinion, Corey and I are doing our best to try to make more money to be able to DCA these lower levels.
And maybe you learn a new entrepreneurial craft like that power washer thing, and you actually start a business around that, and you grow a business. And like creating a business creates wealth too, guys.
Yeah.
It works.
And you can do things that take little risk, like the power washing idea. I think is genius. Like, what was the risk there? A few $100 to rent a power washer in some time?
Right.
Like, you know, there's a lot of little things you can do that are like that don't take a lot of risk. One of the guys was on my back, I think it was like a week ago, where he's like, there's no opportunities out there. Like, woe is me. And I'm like, look, man, there's ways to make things happen if you want to make them happen. I understand everybody has their own challenges. Not going to knock that, you know what I mean? But gosh, there are countless stories of people you know, like taking the bull by the horns in far worse circumstances than I bet any of us here that have made a big impact. And gosh, you know, like it's insightful. So something to consider.
It is. So
yeah. Oh, PBTP. Yeah. So we have a real estate mastermind where primarily right now we're trying to help our real estate guys understand crypto, understand the lows, and how to use these opportunities to multiply wealth, to be able to have more additional capital to go back into real estate, multiply their real estate multiple times over compared to what they could do just in real estate. So that's what we do in our group that we have.
Yep. And we're teaching DeFi and mainly just teaching the RH ecosystem for the most part. It's been an absolute blast.
It's been fun. Cool. Well, appreciate you guys being on. This has been an excellent show. Once again, it's good because you guys come on and give your commentary. We appreciate you tuning in, sharing what you have to say. There's a lot of you guys on here that I would say are far more advanced and smarter than we are in crypto in a lot of respects, and so we appreciate your willingness to come and share your insights. We wouldn't know half the things that we do today with many of your guys' help, so we appreciate it.
Oh, it's the community why I'm even here and know what I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, Oliver. Yeah, I'm in the same spot. I've got one last property to sell. It'd be my final last potential big injection. And so, yeah, that'll be good. Cool, guys. With that, hope you have a great day. Catch us later this week.
See you guys.
See ya.